Hey everybody, it's Alex Burns from the Cabinets Kriega blog, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to do a quick review of some miniatures that I've been painting from Stone Mountain Miniatures. You can find them online at www.wargamingminiatures.com, and they produce a couple of 15 millimeter lines. Probably most famous for their American Civil War line, and then the figures I'll be looking at today, their American War of Independence or American Revolutionary War line. These figures are very beautifully proportioned for 15 millimeter figures. I think that they're about their heads don't look quite too large. Their hands look about the right size. Right now, we're sort of looking at a partially painted version of the 17th Regiment of Foot. One of the things I will note is most of the miniatures are modeled with breeches and half gaiters. But as you can see here, I've painted them with overalls or gaitered trousers. Sort of painted that onto these miniatures that's supposed to have breeches and half gaiters, and you really can't tell, at least from my perspective, that these miniatures are not wearing overalls. So they're sort of versatile in that regard. Up to this point, I've painted the 8th, because of course the 63rd, 17th, and 64th regiments of foot, and I'm sort of working through those still. At the same time, for the United States forces, the Americans, I'm working on the Delaware Regiment and then a couple of Maryland regiments as well, because I'm sort of doing more of a late war feel for the Americans. I modeled them with blankets above their knapsacks, which maybe more supportable in the late war for the American Army. And I just sort of added green stuff from the modeling clay, and sort of formed that on their knapsacks and then painted it white. So I mean, these figures, it's a line that doesn't have a great deal of variety. I mean, there's certainly some troops. The Hessians, the French, are represented in a couple of sets. It's relatively inexpensive. I was able to get all of this from them for about $60, so it's not exorbitantly expensive as far as miniatures go. Their British light infantry are also sort of modeled in half gaiters, which makes maybe a little bit more sense from the supportable evidence that I've looked at. A lot of these guys are represented with arms charged, and it's not perfect. I mean, the rear rank is not going to be quite at the recover, but the rear rank will have their muskets sort of maybe more vertical, and the front rank guys will have their muskets leveled, as they might have during some sort of bayonet attack. I also want to do sort of a brief size comparison. Here you can see the 64th, what will become the 63rd Regiment of Foot. So here's the Old Glory guys. To their left, we have some 15 millimeter Essex Russians from the 7 Years' War era. And to their right, we have some Old Glory 15s, 15 millimeter Old Glory Prussians from the 7 Years' War era, the Infantry Regiment 13 being modeled there. So all in all, I'm quite happy with this range. I had some initial sort of misgivings, but decided to go with them because they were a sort of an affordable option, and I've been very pleased with the results. These miniatures aren't sort of a perfect representation of these soldiers, but they're an excellent representation for what you're paying. All of them are sort of modeled with knapsacks, which again, I don't necessarily love, but isn't the end of the world. I would have loved it if there was maybe a little bit more headgear availability or low leg wear availability to sort of play around with the different sort of things troops were wearing in the War of Independence. But maybe that's more of a project for 28 millimeter and Perry, as you can sort of see in the back there. So that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be doing more of these videos in the future.